everybody. Thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Ladies Tea tonight. Welcome back. The host of Counterculture, a new mom, Danielle D'Souza Gill, and one of our favorites, former Miss California and author of Still Standing, Carrie Prejean Boller. Welcome, ladies. Love to get you guys here, get the tea on everything going. You may have heard I did something crazy. I released a song. I played piano on it. I sang on it. It is a version of Tom Petty's I Won't Back Down. It's a great song, has a lot of meaning to a lot of different people. It was released at midnight on Thursday night last week, so Friday morning technically. And it was interesting because we had so many pre-saves on this song, which was utterly shocking to me because, you know, my kids think I'm a decent singer in the car, but this was something I never anticipated I would do. I got an opportunity. And I was like, why not? Sounds fun. Why not put myself out there for the liberals to attack me a little bit more? And then it was amazing because the next morning, started getting text messages from people, and they were like, can't find you anywhere on iTunes, can't find you on Spotify, can't find you at all on Amazon Music. And so I did a little investigating. Turns out I'm pretty sure I was shadow banned, no big shock there, by Apple, by Spotify. That's nothing surprising, definitely by Amazon. But then we'll get into the bigger issue we had. We had a billboard in Times Square that was to go up with the song cover. It's a picture of me on a horse. It says, I won't back down, Lara Trump underneath. We paid for this billboard, signed for it about a week prior to it going out. They knew that the artist was Lara Trump. They knew the song was I Won't Back Down. And about 2.5 hours, ladies, before this billboard went up, got a call. They called the music producer and they said, you know what? We have a bit of an issue with the name Trump. So would it be okay, Carrie, they asked, if we just put Lara up there? So this guy calls me like, no, my name is Lara Trump. That's my song. This is what we agreed to. And you guys signed a contract saying that's what you would put up on the billboard. So I want it on the billboard as we agreed and as we paid for. Well, Carrie, they put up not I Won't Back Down, not Lara Trump, just the photo of me on a horse with no context in Times Square because it's a problem for them to use the Trump name on a billboard. They said it was too political. I'll rewind a couple of months prior when they were happy to have a billboard up that featured my father-in-law's face and a bunch of charges against him as accused by Alvin Bragg, the district attorney of Manhattan. So it turns out it's okay to have the name Trump up if it's in a negative sense. But when they want to, when you want to put up a song cover, forget it. That could be construed as political. Amazing to see. But again, I wasn't surprised because I sort of expected this sort of treatment from these people.
Yeah, it's really sad. When I heard this story, Lara, I was so angered by this. I know you're probably used to the attacks and the silencing of the left, and it's so interesting how they're the party of equality.
Oh, yeah.
They're conservative. So yeah, this story right here it should be a huge story. The fact that you did come out with a single and it's a top charted single and your face and your name is not on that billboard is a disgrace. And it should be. And I hope you fight and not back down from that because you deserve it.
I see what you did there and I loved it. I won't be backing down. I'll tell you that much. Danielle, it's amazing because what I've learned from this process is that there are just a few select individuals, and I think we all kind of know this, but this was a way that it was like, wow, right in my face. There's few select individuals who make a determination in this country as to what we hear, what we see, what we watch, what movies we consume, what content is actually available out there. I was also told by the music producer that this song got turned down from being played on radio because also they cannot be political on the radio. How is Tom Petty's song I Won't Back Down political? I would love to know the answer to that. Or is it that my last name was the problem for them? The truth is, most people don't understand how manipulated we all are on a daily basis. And for those few folks who can see through the nonsense and actually understand what's going on, it is actually terrifying to know. It's real big brother stuff. It's very Orwellian in its nature. And I certainly learned a lot over the weekend about the overlords, not just in big tech, but also apparently in the music industry, who like to control who ultimately is successful.
And it's so alarming because I think that most Americans would say, oh, if I listen to the radio or listen to music, I'm just going to be hearing the most popular songs, or I'm just going to, enjoy myself. This isn't going to be political. But of course, those kinds of industries are actually the most politicized. And that's where it's so hard to even be in it as a conservative. Even if you've made it to the very top of the top as an actress or singer or whatever it is, you can just be canceled in a second because you support Trump. And so, of course, someone like you who is part of his family is going to be a top target. But I think what's so scary is the fact that this is happening to regular Americans being targeted, where everything is politicized. And so I think when a lot of people see what's happened to you, they'll actually relate to that and think, oh my gosh, this happened to me as a mom or just a normal person who says, hey, I support Trump. Now I'm all of a sudden targeted. Now I'm all of a sudden ostracized. And so I think what happened to your song is a story that just is going to be so common for so many conservatives around the country. And of course, what's happening to President Trump is just the worst of all, with the targeting against him. And so I hope a lot of people hear the song and are able to, celebrate it and, of course, not back down.
Well, you know what? It's really amazing. All I want, and I think all any of us want, is just equal treatment. Treat me and treat this song like you would anyone else. That's all we want. We want to be treated equally, but no wonder, Carrie, people are terrified to speak out about their political views if they aren't, left-leaning political views, because this is what happens to people. Like Danielle just said, people are now so terrified, I think, to really voice their opinion, and how un-American that really is. How frightening a time it is that people feel like they need to censor themselves and how they truly feel and what they truly think, because they're afraid of some sort of retribution that will ultimately wreck their lives. Look at anybody who found themselves at the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C., even if they were somewhere, they're nowhere near the Capitol building at all on January 6, 2021. How many of those people have had their lives destroyed for being there, lost their jobs, had just horrible things happen to them solely based on the fact that they were there to support Donald Trump? It is so sick and it is so scary. And honestly, this is the sort of thing that makes me hope that people have paid attention. This is the sort of thing that I hope drives people out to vote in 2024 and really vote the way we need to save this country. Because I'll tell you what, we go any further down this path, this country, as far as I'm concerned, Carrie, is all but lost.
Yeah, absolutely. I posted something today seeing your father-in-law in court, and I said, I reposted his quote, which says, America is corrupt. I never thought, Lara, that I would actually say that about this wonderful country, but it's so true. The fact that we are indicting a former president, the leading candidate of president of the United States, this is a sad day in America, and it's very sobering. And if they can do this to him, what could they do, like Danielle said, to the average American? How could they destroy the average American's life? We are in an absolute war right now. This is a psychological war. This is a spiritual war. And people better wake up and fight back and not be silenced by the left.
Yeah, you know what? It is the whole situation in New York with the attorney general. And I hate to even use that term for her because she's an embarrassment to prosecutors everywhere of the state of New York, Letitia James. This is a woman who ran on taking down Donald Trump. You don't have to look very far to see that she has completely given up any sort of task otherwise. New York is in shambles. It is a horrible place to be. New York City is just like burning down every single day. Nobody wants to live there. And then, you actually take a step away from that and you look at everything that has transpired. Jack Posobiec had a post about this, and I thought it summed up perfectly what is going on and perfectly why that vice presidential debate last week was the JV debate, why these people have no shot at actually becoming president, and why these people are never going to stand up for this country the way we need to be standing up for it. He said, weird how Biden is jailing the leader of the Republican Party. Democrat judges are dissolving his business, and no one at the GOP primary debate seems to have noticed. But sure, they'll totally take on the deep state, Danielle.
Oh my goodness. You know, it was so almost laughable watching the debate, because at a certain point I was thinking, you know, maybe some of these people want to be VP, maybe they want something else. They're obviously not going to be president. Trump is clearly our nominee. He is going to be the front runner, and he already is the front runner. But even that, I was looking at them and thinking to myself, none of these people even have views that are aligned with Trump, except for maybe Vivek Ramaswamy. Other than that, none of them are America first. They're all not just establishment Republicans who are Republicans of the past, but a lot of them seem like they're actually in league with the Democrats. I mean, Chris Christie, his main goal to be there is to say things so he can go on CNN or MSNBC and use his Donald Duck comment or whatever it is, just for, you know, articles to be written about him. He's not actually a Republican.
Yeah.
He's just trying to weaken our side. And then we have other people, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, fighting about, you know, who put in the curtains, who paid for those, just really silly things. And a lot of them piled on Vivek because he really is the only one who supports Trump to any extent. So I think when we watch these kind of debates, I almost don't want to tell people to watch them, because I'm like, this is not what our side stands for, you know, and I want so many of my friends who are independents to vote for Trump in 2024. So I'm like, don't even watch this, because it's just not a good representation of how most Americans feel and most Republicans feel, which is actually much more in line with the America First movement.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, Carrie, if these people really want us to take them seriously as the leader of not just our country, but the free world, and they are not there on stage every second that they get calling out this anti-American situation that we see going on with Donald Trump, the way that this is banana republic in nature, to have all of these indictments, all this attack against this one guy via the Department of Justice of Joe Biden. Are you kidding me? With Letitia James trying to dissolve his business. She went ahead and threw in, by the way, my husband and my brother-in-law for no apparent reason. It's so frightening to think that any of these people thought that we would take them seriously if they can't call this out.
Yeah, it showed the other night that none of them actually have a backbone. I mean, the American people love your father-in-law. They support President Trump because he is fighting for the people. I didn't see one candidate on that stage that night that actually had the balls to say, other than Vivek, but he's even a little bit wishy-washy at times, to say, I'm going to pardon Trump. They were all like, you know, not really sure what to even do. So I think the American people are fed up, and they see it for what it is. And it's a total sham what they're doing to him. And I think he is going to win so big in 2024 that the left is going to absolutely lose their minds.
Oh, from your lips, Carrie. Let's just speak that one into existence, because I would love to see that. Here's my thing, Danielle. We see how much money is spent by these super PACs out there. I mean, it is nauseating how much money they spend to fight against the obvious Republican nominee, Donald Trump. He is so far ahead of anybody else. It's really, I mean, the idea that any one of these people on that JV debate stage are ever going to make it to, you know, becoming the Republican nominee is just, it's crazy. It's not going to happen. So why are we having these debates? Why are they spending all this exorbitant amount of money to fight against Donald Trump? My opinion is, if we want to salvage this country, let's all rally behind the obvious nominee for the Republican side, Donald Trump. Let's use that money to fight back against this corruption that we see going on in this country. It seems like a waste of time and resources to do anything else at this point. Look, the Democrats on the other side of the aisle, quite frankly, are the ones who should be having debates. They have a very questionable, cognitively declining candidate in Joe Biden. I mean, this guy's got the special shoes on. We know they have an entire West Wing focus now, not on anything to do with bettering the country for the citizens. They're focused on getting Joe Biden some nice walking sneakers so that he doesn't fall down, figuring out how to get him with a trainer to work on his balance. That's the side that needs to be having debates, because that guy can barely squeak out a full sentence that makes sense. Not on our side. It seems like a waste of resources for us to be doing this, Danielle.
Absolutely. And you can tell Gavin Newsom, he would just love to be the nominee and push, Biden to the side. But the Democrats, they really hold things tightly. They have kind of a succession line. They don't just have free flowing debates like we do. And in many cases, if someone were to come out, like we saw even with, let's say, Feinstein passing away, it's like they have a plan of who they want next and how that is all going to work. Whereas on our side, it's like Trump is obviously the incumbent. He's like the successor to what's going on right now. But the rest of the Republicans, they don't want to accept that. The establishment Republicans, of course, the American people do. They actually say, yes, I do want Trump again. I do want to give him another shot. I want him to be the president again. But unfortunately, the Republicans at the top, they think that they can still thwart Trump. They think, they can push him to the side and go back to how things were in the Bush era, and hoping that one of these other candidates will be that, saving grace person for them. But that's not where the American people's hearts are. That's not where they want anything. And so unfortunately, that's never going to happen for them. So this whole thing, it's kind of just an embarrassment. It's a waste of time, a waste of money. And I think if more of them spent their time focusing on attacking the Democrats instead of attacking each other, spent more time actually focusing on the deep state, spent more time on, lowering spending, other things that are just so important to people. Jobs, you mentioned that Trump was in Michigan speaking with workers during this debate. There are so many people hurting in this country. And the fact that they're willing to just kind of focus on these petty, silly arguments is just sad. And I really hope that when Trump is president, because I think he's going to be president again, that none of those people even get cabinet positions, because I don't think that they support Trump. And if we really want to drain the swamp, it should be full of people who truly support him and the America First movement.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me, anybody on that debate stage a VP candidate for him? And I'm like, I don't know. Did you watch them? Because if you're asking me, I don't know. There weren't really any big shining stars there. I haven't talked to him about it. But that I agree with you, Danielle. We got to keep our eye on all the people right now. We got to remember, keep it in your head who all these people, these backstabbers are, because I'll tell you what, they're not coming anywhere near anything when Donald Trump is president again. Carrie, I just kind of talked about Joe Biden and the falling. There was an Axios article that came out in June where they described how Joe Biden has now opted to wear, as I just talked about, sneakers instead of the dress shoes to prevent him from falling. There is a huge focus and, for lack of a better word, a huge push in the West Wing to figure out how to make sure Joe Biden doesn't fall. We got the shoes. He's working out with a special trainer to work on balance. We've seen him embarrassingly coming down like the short stairs out of Air Force One. Like, what? That's terrible. In my mind, I don't know if we have to have such a huge focus on making sure this guy doesn't fall, and we're not actually talking about solving the real problems in this country. Seems like maybe we have missed the mark in the West Wing. No?
Yeah, Joe Biden is an absolute embarrassment to our country. I don't believe he was actually elected president. I think President Trump won in 2020, but that's beside the point. He is an absolute embarrassment to our country. Our adversaries are completely laughing at us. He cannot finish a sentence. He is cognitively declining every single day. He's falling. He can't even finish a sentence. We laugh, but it's quite sad, because this is America, and this is the leader of the free world. He is a joke. This is an embarrassment. This is a sad day in America that this is our president. And so this is why they're attacking President Trump, because look at the contrast. He is the strongest candidate that we've ever had. He puts America first. Joe Biden puts America last. He can't even walk up, Air Force One without falling. I mean, this is an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute joke. And we need President Trump back in 2024, and the American people deserve a president that is cognitively available and not, slurring with his words and not able to not finish a sentence. It's an embarrassment. It's a joke.
At the very least, we should expect that's starting at the basics. Somebody who I kind of thought may throw her hat in the ring on the Democrat side and try to swoop in and say like, oh, now's my time. Danielle, it's Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan. She's got a lot of big ideas about things she wants to do. And one of the big things she just did, she's very proud of this. She signed a law banning marriage for kids under the age of 18 to protect them from abuse. And I wish I was making this up, and life-altering decisions that children aren't prepared to make. So here we have this woman who is out there saying, I want to protect the kids. So here I'm passing this thing so that they're not getting married too early. Yet, it's amazing because she also has done some things that maybe she does care to let kids just totally ruin themselves. Transgender surgery for kids without parental consent was something that she pushed for. So it's a little confusing to know where Gretchen Whitmer stands. Does she believe that we should protect kids? She says she does, but then in the same breath, she basically says parents don't need to be involved in letting kids make life-altering decisions like, I don't know, gender reassignment surgeries and the like. Pretty shocking stuff going on in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, it's absolutely shocking. I mean, the fact that she's more worried about two high school sweethearts and getting married while they're in high school, for example, as opposed to this massive trend for young people to identify as LGBTQ plus or trans and want to change their gender, even when they are going through puberty or have not hit puberty and so on. That is a much bigger problem in our country as opposed to the latter. And this idea that, this is a huge issue, that there are child brides as if we're living in the Middle East is kind of ridiculous. This is not even a common issue. And even if we look at this other issue of the gender dysphoria, we see that she's actually pushing them in the direction of destruction, which is the direction of not actually looking at maybe some mental health issues going on or other things that could be happening at home, but instead focusing on this surgery, these pills, these other problems, just to really mask their pain. Because that's what it is. A lot of the youth that feel this way, they clearly are in deep pain. And so we have empathy for them. And Gretchen Whitmer's approach to them is not empathetic. It's actually quite destructive, and it's going to be harmful to those kids as they grow up and become adults who are quite confused.
Yeah, Carrie, Whitmer is 100% on board with Michigan, quote, enshrining in its constitution transgender care up to and including sterilization surgery for minors with parents powerless to stop it. Wow. Pretty bad.
Yeah, this is really disturbing. I think, Lara, in just a few years, we are going to look back as a society and say, how on earth did we allow children to mutilate their bodies? How did we say that it's gender affirming care? No, it's gender barbaric mutilation of our children. This is a topic that I'm very passionate about, and I fight every single day against this because I think it's a gender ideology cult that is being pushed on our kids. We're seeing as young as 2-3-year-olds being pushed this ideology that is so dangerous. And we're going to look back, Lara, in just a few years and say, what the hell have we done to our children? It's wrong. And I think parents are getting fed up because more and more parents are speaking out against this, and they're taking back their children. They want your children. They're no longer hiding it. And that's the reality of it. So shame on her.
Yeah.
She is a part of the cult. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's so crazy to me to think that that they think that that's acceptable somehow, and they're gonna just kind of like anybody who is like a little worried about that. Oh, but look, we made sure the kids under the age of 18 can't get married, so we're all good here. I mean, it's like they think that we're stupid. Yeah. Obviously, we're not. I do think that's a big thing, though, Carrie, as you said, that people are going to be voting on in 2024. I think that we saw in a big way how parents came out to take things back and take their power back in the state of Virginia when they elected Glenn Youngkin as a Republican governor in a very blue state, Virginia. I think it'll be the same thing come November 5th, 2024. Parents are fed up with this, and we better start working overtime to save our kids, because I'll tell you what, once you go down this path for some of these kids, they don't come back. You can't undo some of this stuff. And you're right. It's going to be so sad to see really how we destroyed so many lives over this complete lunacy. Something that we're going to end on today, and I think is maybe the best polling of all. You know, people are like, oh, there's this poll, there's that poll, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, neck and neck. Donald Trump's, 50 points above anyone else in the GOP field. Here is the real poll that I guess we should have been paying attention to a long time ago. Apparently, according to the Daily Mail, if aliens attack, the majority of Americans feel that they would be better off if Donald Trump was president, Danielle, versus Joe Biden. 43% think that they'd be better off with Trump. 32%, though, said Joe Biden. Who thinks Joe Biden? Joe Biden can't even tie his shoes. He's going to fight off some aliens? Wow, really? I do like that people think, they're like, oh, we need a tough guy should the aliens come and attack us. What do you think, Danielle?
Oh my goodness. Well, of course, if anyone attacks us, Trump is the only one who would even bother defending us.
Right.
And I don't know if regarding aliens this even makes any sense, but of course, Trump's policy is peace through strength. And so I think that he would defend us and he would make sure that we are very safe from the aliens. Joe Biden would obviously just be completely oblivious to what's going on. He'd be like, wait, is this my new staffer giving me a teleprompter to come up with new thoughts to say while I'm telling the American
where do I walk
people,
off stage?
Where
do I go? Oh, I'm over here.
Exactly. Exactly. So no, Trump is the only one who can protect us. And unfortunately, Joe Biden is completely lost, like an alien himself.
Well, it's almost like the way I felt about this poll, and yeah, it's kind of silly. I get it. But it's interesting because, there is such a thing as like tough love. And I think about the way that we probably look at parents oftentimes. Like when I was a kid, my parents were tough on us in the right kind of ways. And my dad was very strict and had certain like level of demands of things for me and my brother. But I'll tell you what, if anybody came at us, I'm hiding behind my dad. Like that's the guy. He's ready to go. I kind of feel like people see Donald Trump in that way a little bit. Like, yeah, he says the things that you need to say, even though maybe you don't want to hear them. Yeah, it's tough love. But I'll tell you what, push comes to shove. These people might not have liked his tweets, but they're like, I feel like Donald Trump might be a little bit better to protect us than Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, Laura. I've said for so many years, Donald Trump is like a father figure to so many Americans.
Yeah.
Protector. He is our provider. He is our warrior, the one that would stand in the way of a bullet. That's literally how Americans feel about your father-in-law, our former president. And that's the type of leader that we need. So I don't even believe that poll. I actually think the Lord will probably come back before we see aliens. But Donald Trump is that father figure. And I think that's why they hate him so much, Laura. I think that's why they despise him so much. Because remember, toxic masculinity. Your father-in-law is the epitome of masculinity. I would love to see half of the GOP, candidates running for president go through half of what your father-in-law went through. They would be crying in their mommy's basement if they had to go through anything of what Trump has had to go through. And you know what? He goes through it every single day. He takes the abuse because he loves the American people. And people love Trump. So, hey, I always say he's not human. He is not human. He is made of steel.
Maybe he's the alien. My favorite, though, is that I always go to the comments just to kind of like gauge what people are thinking about things, especially the Daily Mail. It's like, there's something to it. One of the comments, and actually more than one of them, basically were like, the UFOs will be the next way that they rig the election. They're starting today with the alien stuff. I don't know. I mean, crazier things have happened, like a virus from China that makes us shut down our country and redo our voting systems here in America. I don't know. So just keep your eyes peeled. If they come in hot with the alien stuff, ladies, maybe it's the next big election rig. We will stay tuned to that. Danielle and Carrie, thank you both so much for being with us here. Ladies Tea at The Right View. We appreciate it. To everybody at home, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. We'll be back next week for more of The Right View Ladies Tea. So I'm like a lot of people. I love to wear an Apple Watch, but I hate how it looks. And I scoured the internet to search for the best looking Apple Watch cases I could find, and I found it. goldandcherry.com. They have absolutely beautiful watches, as you can see here. Everything is waterproof. Everything looks good with different outfits. You can get sporty, you can get fancy, but they are great quality, made out of Delaware in the United States of America. And they have been kind enough to give me a promo code that I can share with you if you want to get your hands on one of these as well. It's Lara T, L-A-R-A-T is the promo code to get yourself a discount at goldandcherry.com. And not only do they make Apple Watch cases, they also make great products for iPads and iPhones, keyboards, your desktop, everything you could possibly need. Goldandcherry.com. Use promo code LARAT so you can get yourself one of these today too. At The Right View, we're very proud of the fact that we are independent. We get to say everything that we think and everything that we feel. We have no woke companies guiding us or telling us what we can and cannot say. We are always going to shoot you straight and give you the facts as we know them. And that's why it's important to support independent outlets like The Right View. My name is Lara Trump, and I think Mike Lindell is a patriot. He is someone who loves this country, is willing to fight for this country. I love MyPillow because not only are MyPillows made in the USA by American workers, but they're great products, and they're so great that not only do I use them in my own bed at night, my children actually requested. My daughter the other day went to the closet and pulled out a MyPillow and said, "This is the pillow that I want to sleep with." And I gotta tell you, she loves it and will have nothing to do with any other pillow. So it's a big hit around our house. My dogs also happen to sleep on MyPillow dog beds. So all around the Trump household, we're big fans. If you go to mypillow.com today and use promo code Trump, again, promo code Trump, you will not only save money, but you will help us continue this show and other shows like it and help us continue the fight for the future of America. Inflation has impacted all of our lives. I don't think anyone can go to the gas pump or the grocery store without noticing that it is a major factor. And unfortunately, it's not going anywhere. It doesn't seem like it's going down in the way that we would like it to. And one way to protect your money is by investing in precious metals, gold and silver. That's always been a great way to make sure that you keep your money and you keep it safe. When you go to bh-pm.com, use promo code Trump. That way, if you decide you want to invest in gold and silver, you'll save yourself a little bit of money. We live in a time that's very interesting. A lot of us out there feel like a lot of our rights are slipping away. And if you're like I am and you want to have the right to choose whether or not to have a vaccine, how to live your life freely, and you're looking for a great doctor, I've heard amazing things about Dr. Sherwood. He's somebody who you should really check out and check into, and it'll help support this program and keep us going. So go to sherwood.tv and use promo code Trump. Again, sherwood.tv and use promo code Trump. You can save yourself some money and help us keep our program going.